Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are here to talk about all the books that I read in November. November wasn't a super busy reading month for me. I didn't get quite as much read as I had planned to, but nonetheless I had a pretty decent reading month. I did have some disappointments, which we will get into, but it was mostly a month for reading series for me. I guess not even mostly. I read only books that are part of series this month. Um, Starting off with a new release, A Curse for True Love. Now, this was a very anticipated read for me. I read the first two books in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series over the summer. I really enjoyed them. I don't think either of them quite got a 5-star for me, but if you don't know what this series is about, it is about Evangeline Fox, our main character, who we follow, who has pink hair, which I think is so fun. She lives in a very fairy tale-esque world, very Alice in Wonderland vibes, all vibes, very, there's a plot, but the plot is definitely a weaker element of the story. It is mostly about the magical writing and the magical setting and just going along with the vibes. So I really loved the second book, The Ballad of Never After. I was really excited to get to this next one, had pretty high hopes going into it, and unfortunately was let down. Now I gave this one a 4-star, but I think it might be closer to a 3.75. I still really enjoyed it, as I just really enjoy the series and the writing, but this one did feel a lot weaker than the other books. It felt quite rushed, and there was even a part that I was hoping to be closed out for the series. Something that is brought up quite often that I think everyone who read it was hoping it would have some sort of significance, or at least we would get some sort of explanation for it, and it is literally brought up like right at the end of the book just to be like, I don't know. Like, haha, not gonna explain it. And I honestly would have rather have felt like she forgot about that than to bring it up and just be like, hee hee, I don't know. Like, honestly, that was really upsetting for me. And if you've read the series, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I still gave it a 3.75 because I still love the series. I still think Stephanie Garber is a very talented writer. So, yeah, that is my feelings on A Curse for True Love. Now, next up, we are going to talk about these two books together. It's hurting to even try and hold them up together. That is the last two books in the Harry Potter series, The Half-Blood Prince, as well as the Deathly Hallows. Now, every book after the first two in the series have been a 5-star for me, so I won't go too much into this. I listen to it mostly on audiobooks. As I've mentioned before, I really love the audiobooks by Jim Dale. Highly recommend. I have. If you have not read this series before, I highly recommend getting into it. Sorry, my cat is going crazy. She loves to play with my tripod. Give me just a second so I can get her something to entertain her while I film. So, as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, if you are going to pick up the series, if you have not yet read it and you don't already own the books, I would highly recommend, so that we aren't giving more money to J.K. Rowling, I'd highly recommend going somewhere like Half Price Books to pick them up secondhand, or using Libby to check them out from your library and listen to the audiobooks, or even just getting a physical copy from your library. Just anything you can do to not be purchasing them firsthand and putting money into a transphobic author. Moving on from the Harry Potter series, I had another new release. That is Iron Flame, and unfortunately another disappointment. Now this one let me down even more than A Curse for True Love did. I quite enjoyed Fourth Wing, but it wasn't my all-time favorite. I loved the dragons, but The rest of the book wasn't anything too special for me. I found the pacing to be a little weird, and her writing, you can definitely tell it was her debut fantasy novel. The world building was a little bit lazy and confusing and such, and I was hoping going into this that she had worked on all those things and improved as an author, improved as a fantasy writer overall. And unfortunately, I found that this book not only had all of those issues, but had them even worse than the first one. So that was quite a bummer. So the pacing on this was incredibly strange, and a lot of the book dragged for me, especially in the middle. The world building was super lazy. Like, the way that she told us things was pretty much literally just telling us things, having us sit down in a history class and just laying out the world. And honestly, I find that such a boring way to world build. I don't find that the characters made much sense. The saving grace for this book was, of course, the dragons. I really did like the storyline that the dragons were following. And there was one particular thing that I don't really think I can mention without there being spoilers. A certain very specific character interaction that took place in this book that I was surprised by and quite loved. So maybe at the very end of this video, if you stick around, I'll quickly talk about a little spoiler section. I gave this a 3 stars, and once again, maybe a 2.75 even. I still enjoyed it in some ways, but I think that there are a lot more things that I dislike about this book than I like about it, unfortunately. And then ending off the month, my month of reading only books from series, we have the prequel to The Hunger Games. Now, I am not going to go too much into this book, as I do have a video that is either already out or will be coming out shortly after this is posted, talking all about this, going to see the movie. If you want to hear me talk about this in depth, go check that out once it is out. If it is out, I will tag it above and below as well. But I gave this a 4 stars. I really enjoy this. This was a stronger 4 stars, I would say, than A Curse for True Love is. I have not put this much thought into a book or had a book. I've not had a book inspire this much thought in me in a very long time. There's just a lot to analyze here, a lot of fun foreshadowing, symbolism, and political commentary. And yeah, I think that it is a, I don't know if I would call it fun, but it has entertainment value, but it is also a book that lets you use critical thinking skills and makes you think a bit deeper. And honestly, if you are thinking into it a lot, it is probably going to be a little bit of a difficult read, as it was for me, but still loved it nevertheless. And yeah, so go check out that video for more. So here is all the books that I read this month. I'm not sure how I didn't break my wrist, considering these are all hardcovers and a lot of them are quite thick. I think listening to the Harry Potter books on audio is literally what kept my wrist from breaking this month. So thank God for Libby. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you read this month, what your favorite and least favorite reads, if you had any disappointing books, and if you read any of the same things that I did. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!